Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Bogdan Dubrovsky from Westwall Sport and Spine. I'm a chiropractor and I have advanced training in interprofessional pain management. So day to day, the population that I see ranges from athletes who have been playing sports and engaged in physical exercise their whole life to patients that have experienced severe motor vehicle accident trauma who are unable to exercise, yet alone engage in sort of physical activity for their day-to-day lives. The one thing we know as clinicians is that motion is lotion. No matter how much pain, no matter how much weakness that you may feel like you're experiencing, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's where I talk to patients about exercise-based goals. You know, exercise doesn't mean running a marathon or going to the gym 5 times a week. Exercise can be the basic things that you do in your house before you get to work, or what you do around the house as you're engaging in your housework and house tasks. Exercise really is a mentality. The moment you understand that exercise is something that's going to help you every single day for the rest of your life, that is an investment that keeps on paying back, is the moment that you can have a big change in the pain that you may be experiencing in your life. A lot of patients think that exercise can make their pain worse. Now, that's the brain trying to trick you from stopping to do exercise. There are safe exercises that will not hurt you more than what you're already feeling. That actually is a little bit of a gap that we need to break through. Once we break through that initial pain, the exercise is actually going to strengthen and stabilize all of the muscles, joints, nerves, and structures that may be around that area that are causing you that discomfort. So if you're not moving or you're thinking about starting moving, I think you're on the right track. Any motion is good motion, and the biggest thing for you is to try to get into the right headspace to perform these things. So if you want more resources, we have a couple of videos coming up for you that you can do in the presence of your own home, seated and standing, that can get you on a right path to getting moving and feeling better. Thank you very much for listening. So the first thing we want to do is maintain good posture. Oftentimes when we're sitting, we're slouched forward with our shoulders rounded forward and our necks tilted this way. What we want to try to focus on in the beginning is to get our shoulders back and to tuck our chin backwards to be in a nice upright posture. From here, we'll start with some neck exercises. We'll turn to our right, turn to our left, turn all the way down, and lift all the way backwards. Now, it's really important to ease into this and not swing your heads back and forth, because sometimes we have restriction in muscle tightness or in pain in our joints that nice and easy will loosen it all the way through. So you go left, you go right, we go up, we go down, okay? Once we're comfortable in doing so, what we can add is a little bit of overpressure. What I mean by that is when you go down, I want you to pull downwards with your head and hold for 5 seconds. When you go towards the right, tilt down, hold for 5 seconds. When you're going towards the left, tilt down and hold for 5 seconds. That's a nice, easy activation to get your neck going in all sorts of range of motion. Okay, from there, we can start focusing on our shoulders. The first thing that we can work on is some backward shoulder shrug. That'll help us get our shoulders nice and rounded. So what you want you to start nice and rounded forwards, roll backwards, come forwards, roll backwards, come forwards. Now, once you're comfortable at the backwards and forwards, you can get this going as a continuous motion to activate your shoulders. Okay? Afterwards, we want to get our range of motion all the way up over our head, all the way down, all the way up over our head, all the way down. Once we're comfortable with that, we can pull our right arm across and get a good stretch going through our shoulder and arm, hold for 5 seconds, and over to this side, hold for 5 seconds. Once we've stretched the front out, we're ready for the stretches in the back. So hand behind your shoulder blades, other arm on top of your elbow, and just squeeze. Try to be nice and upright. Again, 5 seconds, gentle hold, and then you can alternate your arms. For those who are unable to do any of these motions because of restrictions in shoulder pain or difficulty raising above your shoulders, only work in the range of motion that you feel comfortable. So if it hurts when you come here, well, you stop here. If it hurts when you're here, you stop here. If it doesn't hurt and you're able to reach all the way, do so as you feel fit. Okay? Now, once we've loosened our shoulders, it's time to strengthen them. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is take our arms in front of us to the side, and I want us to do 10 small circles with our arms. Once we do these 10 small circles, we can open up the circles a little bit bigger until we're almost clapping our hands in front of us as the circles come in front. That's going to really activate the shoulder muscles and get you a little bit worked up. So again, nice and slow, nice and small, a little bit bigger, and then trying to clap the arm in front of you as you do so. Okay? The next thing we're going to do, they're called T and Y holds. So a T hold is just to hold your arms out like this for about 15 seconds. A Y hold is to hold your arms above your head for about 15 seconds. Now, these exercises are really going to help strengthen your shoulders and arms and help you in household tasks like lifting for the top drawer, opening your refrigerator, reaching for anything in your cupboard, or storing laundry up into your closet. So it's nice to have good, strong shoulders when you do so. Oftentimes, we have challenges with walking and moving through our days because we have soreness in our legs. Part of that comes from some of the tightness in our muscles, and some of it comes from the inactivity in activating those muscles. So it's really important that every day in your own chair as you're having your coffee, you activate your legs. So the first thing we can start off with is some seated marching. Just getting your knees nice and high as you can to your chest or to your stomach. And you want to do about 10 marches on each side while keeping a nice, relaxed posture. Now, as you can see here, I'm trying to be as lean back in my chair as possible. It gives me some stability and some comfort. And I've got my hands on my stomach here, trying to activate my core while I do this. Okay? So nice and easy, 10 times on each side. Once you're nice and warm, what we want to do, it's called seated pedaling. We want to imagine that we're in a rowboat or we're in a seated bicycle in front of us, and you're just getting your legs moving in the circles. As you can see, I'm gripping the chair here to give myself a little bit more support and elevation. And what I want to start with is about 10 to 15 seconds of pedaling. Now, your legs will get tired. You can take a break after about 10 seconds. Relax. And then once you've caught your breath and you're ready to go, you can go again. So this will engage a lot of our muscles in our quads, in our hamstrings, in our glutes, and we'll be able to go for the day. Now, it's important we also stretch out. So if you're able to and you have the flexibility, you want to try to raise your leg up onto your knee and slowly press down onto that knee over here. You should feel a nice pull and stretch through the side of your leg. Only work in a range of motion that you feel is comfortable. Once you're ready to switch, feel free to switch, give yourself a hand, and try to hold for about 5 to 10 seconds as you press down. Okay? Once you've got those stretched out, it's important to activate our calves. So all you're going to do, it's a very simple exercise, is to lift your toes up and down as if you're on your tippy toes. What that's going to do, it's going to get you some ankle range of motion and mobility, as well as activate these big calf muscles that you can see activating as I squeeze right at the top end of my range of motion. Afterwards, we want to work backwards. We want to do some heel ankle activation because, again, as we're walking through our day, our feet support us. And what we want to do is make sure that we can lean all the way backwards and all the way up, all the way backwards and all the way up. This will give us some good range of motion throughout our day. Once you feel comfortable with all of that, you can cycle through these exercises as you see fit. These are easy to do enough as you're sitting in a chair and easy enough to incorporate in your everyday life to make sure your muscles are nice and strong. Today, I'll be continuing to take you through a series of home-based chair exercises. These ones we'll be doing standing. As you see in the previous 2 videos, we did them in a seated position. For those who are able, we can progress and move into some standing exercises simply with a home chair. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll grab the chair with both hands over here. And what we're going to work on is activating our big posterior musculature as well as the front muscles of our quad. And all we're going to do are simple butt kicks. You want to get the heel of your butt the heel of your foot as close to your butt as possible and hold for about a second and come on back down. Okay? Once you have a good rhythm established, you can focus on doing about 10 per side. Okay? Once you're comfortable with that, we're going to work towards turning and facing forward. And we're just going to work on a gentle front leg swing. So make sure you have good support on this table. If you're concerned about your balance, you can hold on with two hands if you need, but that might restrict your range of motion. Try to have one hand by the side, one hand firmly supported, and good support on the leg that you're not kicking forward. And then what we can focus on is trying to reach as high as we can with our leg. Okay? Now don't worry, not everybody's flexible. If you can come down here or come all the way up here, it doesn't matter as long as we're getting motion through that hip. Now in this forward position, the next thing we're going to work on, it's called opening the gait, raising our knee, and opening sideways. So a lot of patients with hip pain, they have restrictions in what are called their hip flexors. What we want to do is engage them and open them. Engage them and open them. And same thing, I have my support on this chair all the time. Now if I was work on to the opposite side, you can take a step away and open. Take a step away and open. So these are good easy exercises, the front swings, the butt kicks, and the opening of the gait. That will help strengthen the hip. Once we're comfortable with those, we can progress coming back to the side of the chair, and we're going to work on our leg swings but coming to the side. This is really going to activate our glute muscle. So as you do this, you may feel a pull or a strain through there. That's a normal sensation. Work in the range that you feel is comfortable for you. Once you have this nice motion, same thing, focus on about 10 per side. Okay? Now, moving into the more complex exercise here. And again, if you've progressed well with the seated exercises, the standing exercises, this should be very easy for you. For those who are still having some balance and strength concerns, stick with the first group of exercises first. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is grab the chair. We're going to focus on a backwards lunge. So what that means, if I'm backwards lunging with my right leg, my left knee is going to bend downwards while I step backwards onto my right foot and I come back in. I have good support on the chair. I'm going to step back. As I'm stepping back, my front knee is bending and I come down to a nice comfortable area. And again, you want to work for about 5 to 10 of these on each side. Okay? Once we're comfortable with the back step, what I want us to do is take 2 steps back, and we're going to focus on a squat while we hold on to this chair. A squat is hinging at our hips, bending our knees, and keeping our feet nice and flat. So what we want to do is pretend that we're actually going to sit backwards into a chair. So if there's a chair behind me right where my butt is, what I'm going to do is sit right into the chair and come back up. And then I sit right back into the chair and come back up. Sit back into the chair and come back up. And again, I've got my support anytime that I need it. As you can see, when I come down, my knees are not crossing inwards or my feet are not pushing outwards. What I want to maintain is a nice and straight alignment as I come down and up. I'll show you from the front view without a chair. If I was to squat, what I would do, I would get my feet shoulder width apart. I would focus on a nice bend in my butt and my knees, and I can come down and hold and come up. If you can get to this point and hold